Mr. Walker never liked the new family next door. He didn't like their laughter, their music, or the color of their skin. For months, he made their lives miserable. But one stormy night, when his chest tightened and his breath slipped away, the last face he expected to see leaning over him was the one he judged the most. And that's when everything changed. The neighborhood of Maple Crest Lane was quiet, perfectly trimmed lawns, American flags, morning joggers who waved at each other. Mr. Walker had lived there for over 20 years. A retired construction supervisor, he took pride in being old school. Then one spring morning, a moving truck pulled up to the vacant house next door. A black family of 4 stepped out, the Adeyemis. They had just moved from Atlanta. James, a mechanical engineer, calm and polite. Grace, his wife, a nurse who smiled easily. Their children, Tolu 10 years and Amira 7 years old, full of energy. They waved to Mr. Walker across the fence. He only gave a stiff nod. By the end of the week, the kids' laughter and the scent of grilled plantains filled the air. To most neighbors, it was nothing unusual. But to Mr. Walker, it felt like an invasion. He started with subtle things, complaining about noise, muttering under his breath when James mowed the lawn a little later than usual. When Grace parked too close to his driveway, he called the homeowners association. One afternoon, he saw Tolu playing basketball near his hedge and yelled, "Keep that ball away from my yard. I don't want trouble around here." Grace apologized kindly, but the kindness only made him angrier. He told the mailman, "They should have stayed where they came from. People like them don't belong here." Behind his closed curtains, he watched them barbecue, pray together, wave at passing cars. Some part of him envied their warmth, but he buried that feeling under bitterness. Summer came. The Adeyemis hosted a small weekend cookout for a few church friends. Music played softly, laughter drifted over the fence. That was the night Mr. Walker snapped. He stormed outside red-faced, shouting about respect and rules. When James tried to calm him, he sneered, "Don't pretend you belong here. People like you ruin neighborhoods." Everyone went silent. Grace took her kids inside, tears in her eyes. James quietly turned off the music and said, "We're not your enemies, sir. But hate will make you one." Mr. Walker slammed his door so hard the porch light flickered. From that night on, he refused to speak to them. Even when the Adeyemi kids waved each morning, he turned away. Autumn rolled in with cold rain and lonely evenings. Mr. Walker's world felt smaller every day, his grown kids barely called, and his health was slipping. He ignored the chest pains, the shortness of breath. Pride told him he was fine. That night, thunder rattled the windows. Power lines sparked. The whole street went dark. Mr. Walker shuffled toward the kitchen for his flashlight, but the pain hit him hard this time. A crushing weight in his chest. He gasped, gripping the counter, calling for help no one could hear. He stumbled out onto the porch, rain pouring down his face. His knees buckled, and he collapsed, alone in the storm. Across the fence, Tolu saw a flicker of light and a silhouette fall. He screamed for his parents. Within seconds, James and Grace were outside, rushing through the rain. Grace knelt beside the old man. Her nurse's instincts kicked in. "He's not breathing right. Call 911, she shouted. James ran for the phone while Grace began chest compressions, her hands steady despite the thunder. Rain soaked her scrubs, but she didn't stop. When the ambulance arrived, she climbed in beside Mr. Walker, still holding his hand. Mr. Walker woke in the hospital hours later, machines beeping softly. The first thing he saw was Grace dozing in a chair beside him. He blinked, confused. "You stayed," he whispered. She smiled gently. "Someone had to make sure you pulled through." He turned away, ashamed. Memories of every cruel word flashed in his mind. "Why?" he croaked. "After everything I said to you?" Grace's voice was calm. "Because hate doesn't heal people. Kindness does." Tears burned in his tired eyes. For the first time in years, he felt something break open inside him, a mix of regret and gratitude. When James arrived later that morning, Mr. Walker reached out a trembling hand. "Thank you. For saving me from myself." James nodded. "We all need saving sometimes." Mr. Walker spent weeks recovering. Every day, The Adeyemi kids brought flowers or cards they'd drawn by hand. Grace checked his medication, James repaired his porch light, and slowly, the walls between them crumbled. By winter, Mr. Walker was a new man. He started joining the Adeyemis for Sunday dinners, learning about their culture, their stories, their food. The laughter that once annoyed him became the sound he looked forward to most. One afternoon, as snow fell lightly outside, he looked at them around the table and said, "I spent so many years fearing what I didn't understand. But you taught me something I'll never forget. Love doesn't care about color." Grace smiled. "It never has, Mr. Walker." From that day, neighbors noticed a different man on Maple Crest Lane. The same one who once glared from his porch now waved first. And whenever newcomers moved in, no matter their accent, color, or faith, he was the first to knock on their door with a pie and a warm welcome. Hate is heavy. It blinds the heart and poisons the soul. But kindness, especially the kind that asks for nothing in return, can break the hardest stone. Mr. Walker learned that the people he feared were the very ones who showed him what humanity truly means. In the end, we're not defined by where we come from, but by how we love, how we forgive, and how we choose to see one another.